Hey y'all, it's Horse Thief. Let's talk about stars. This is an endgame board. Before we dive deeper, here's how stars work. Watching this combat, you'll see this board is running the Starchild, Oberon, and Titania. This setup charges the maximum of 7 high damage stars at the start of combat. The top number on the star tells you its damage. In this case, it's going to be 478. The bottom number indicates how many attacks it takes for a star to go off. After 7 total attacks from both yours and your opponent's characters, each of the stars will fire. So if we watch this fight play out, we have 7 attacks down to 6, down to 5, down to 4 more, 3 left. Oberon hits, we have 2, and finally the stars fire off after Consti hits from the opponent's side of the board. Now that you've seen how they work, I'll play out some key points in a successful stars game while highlighting the treasures, characters, and items to think about. Notice this board on 5.0 isn't running a single piece of stars tech. You don't need to play stars in the early game to utilize their power late game. They'll happily augment your existing board. Skipping forward, I now have 1 Starchild on 5.1. You'll notice I'm also lining up for boost comp pieces since this game found an early upgraded Lady of the Lake off a random transformation. Stars have been added to the board now, but we're still primarily relying on tempo from pieces we picked up earlier in the game. However, Starchild may often be a common entry point to stars on your board on level 5 as it's a very powerful piece. Starchild's effect says, as long as I don't spend all of my gold, or if I float at least 1 gold at the end of the combat, there is no benefit to floating more than 1. Starchild will charge up 2 stars, dealing Starchild's damage at the start of the combat that take 7 attacks to set off. These are the first high damage stars you can start charging up before you get later into level 6. Skipping to the end of the turn, I now see a Bluebell in the shop, so we need to talk about the early game pieces, which are Bluebell, Puck, and Starcatcher. You might find all of these before level 5, however, none of them provide a massive boost in tempo, at least until level 4 when you can find Dandelion. If you do find yourself running a Starcatcher to build a big Bluebell or Puck early, you'll definitely want Dandelion on level 4. Dandelion may make it all the way to your final board. Puck typically does not end up on your final board. You could also end up picking up a Stargirl on level 4 for tempo. Stargirl, like Puck, doesn't usually make my final board either. Bluebell, however, is interesting in that Bluebell can be used with hand summon pirates to generate a few extra stars mid-combat. Fast forwarding again, you'll notice a critical moment in this game. Shooting Star is a build around treasure, and in this case, it's even baby mimicked, making it twice as potent. Note that Shooting Star is now a level 5 treasure as this was played on a previous patch. Shooting Star has the effect to generate a star every time one of your characters dies. That star takes 7 attacks to fire. Shooting Star is almost necessary to fight a summon board, as you'll need quite a few stars to win that kind of combat. If you find Shooting Star, you'll find yourself incentivized to pick up Summons. Summons accomplish 2 goals: generate more stars and have more attacks to set them off. Fast forwarding again, we found another 2 pieces that will really help out our strategy. Oberon is a crucial unit in most star builds as it's the most effective way to add more attack to your stars. Even against a summons comp, you'll often need a little more damage since their summons tend to buff the board if cats, or have stats of their own if scam. As we wrap this up, let's watch the final fight of this game play out. I'd like to briefly point out that you might be interested in an arcane rune for your Starchild in order to hit his 7 maximum stars, or you might use a Merlin's rune on Dandelion for the same purpose for Starchild, or also to generate additional stars if you're supporting summons with a Shooting Star. But let's talk pros and cons. Pros: stars are flexible. You can mix and match early with lower power star characters plus whatever tempo units you pick up. Then when you get to level 5, you have even more powerful star options open up. This leaves a lot of room for creativity. The biggest pro for stars is they adapt to your opponent's board. You can either build into Starchild and Oberon to generate giant stars if you're against dogs or dwarves, or if your opponent is running cats or scam, you can opt for a Shooting Star route in order to fight those boards better. However, stars struggle against summon builds. Finding a specific level 5 treasure is no guarantee. Another con: Stars often won't help you fight in the early game. Puck and Bluebell are not terribly strong tempo characters. You very frequently need to leave your options open and plan to add stars in late game if they make sense. Also, you'll almost certainly need to find an Oberon quickly on level 6 to keep your star damage relevant. Finally, stars are not a mono comp. You won't win by seeing stars, buying stars. You'll need to build your board around what your opponents are doing to take the crown.